woke up this morning to news of a boy in Port Harcourt who went missing about 18 years ago, actually. Now, according to reports, the name of this young boy is, his name is, I'm trying to, Gospel, yes, Gospel Kinani. According to reports, he went missing 18 years ago at the age of 14. He was barely a minor. And how he got arrested to the point of being in a correctional facility for 18 years without any trial is a question that begs for answers. And I am hoping that we get those answers as fast as possible, because I wouldn't imagine 18 years of someone's life wasted for nothing, no trial. And I saw somewhere in that report that his name was even changed. And so when you look through records, you don't find the Gospel Kinani. And Nigerians have been asking a very pertinent question. How many people who have been declared missing are in correctional facilities across the country for crimes they know nothing about, or better still, for no crimes at all? Because you're not guilty until you have been proven so by a court of law. And most of these people never make it before any court of law, before any trial judge. So what exactly are they guilty of? How many dreams are stolen by the system like this across different correctional facilities in Nigeria? My blood is heated. I am angry because I can't imagine so many things that happen here. I can't imagine my sibling, my relation, my child going through all of these things. And what's even worse is that even where you can protect the people close to you, the system denies you that right. Because according to Kenani Gospel's brother, Paul, they searched for him through the same facility, or in the same facility he has been kept for 18 years, and they were told he was not there. Good morning. Welcome to the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. My name is Chisom Chinedu. Franklin Ebuka is here. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Chisom. Good morning, Nigerians. The story of a Gospel Kinani is just one out of many that we have in Nigeria, because we have seen a system that has a culture of police arresting people, keeping them excommunicado, keeping them in custody without even trying to communicate with their families. If you look at the Police Act, there's a mandate in the Police Act that requires police to notify people or notify relations of a suspect within a certain hour after the person's arrest. But guess what happens? Police hardly adheres to this very provision in their own law, in the law establishing police. Now, if you go to that same Police Act, you see certain provisions against arresting people by proxy. But guess what happens? Police also does that. If police comes for you and you are not found, police gets to arrest your brother or your sister or even your father just for you to appear. Why the law speaks against such kind of activity? So we have a couple of things that happen in Nigeria when it comes to the issue of criminal justice and what have you not. And they happen not because there are no provisions against them, but because some people have chosen to blatantly violate these very provisions. And because there's no, consequence for actions, it continues to happen. The case mentioned where somebody was arrested when he was 14 and he was kept in police detention for 18 years without trial. So by the time he came out, he's already 30 years. So you have wasted 18 years of productivity. You had disfigured him, because I learned that when he came out, he was looking like a shadow of himself.
Honestly, his elder brother looked better than him.
So probably you have messed up the entire life of a young man, not because you were able to convict him of any crime, but because you arrested him and kept him in custody. And that's why I keep on saying the law requires that if you arrest a suspect, if that suspect is within a certain proximity, he should be charged to court within 48 hours. If it's more than that, there's a provision. But like I keep on saying, these things are there, but they are hardly enforced. That's why I keep on asking. People who are meant to enforce these very laws, why are they not within the big hammer? Take, for instance, if police brings a suspect to court and the judge makes inquiry and finds out that this person has been detained for a long time, what stops the judge from giving a varying order on that, so that those authorities who are doing this will get to understand that the law frowns at this, but everybody just keeps a straight face if it has no consequence on our lives. So it's quite a sad situation for this very young man. I'm just wondering what the family is going to make do with a man who had been in prison for 18 years and then came out at 30. And guess what? Not because he was in prison and was, being productive. Because if you go to some prisons in some advanced countries, this person might have learned one or two skills while there. So when he comes out, he can answer, okay, you can chart a new course of life for him. But in this very case, that is not the case. It also points to the fact of the challenge of awaiting trials we have, where somebody is arrested and police fails to charge the person to court. The person is kept in prison for years. I do not know where we were going to start, but if actually we want to reform this very system, we must start from the basis. Because if you look at the ACJA, the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, it states all these very things. But like I keep on saying, the laws are not the problem. The problem is the people who are implementing these very laws. They implement selectively based on what they think can give them the convenience of what their intentions are.
It's really sad. Did you see videos of Mr. President at that press corps dinner, and when he made the playful "Ya Alakara" statement to his wife?
Yes, I saw the video.
Oh my God! Everybody is catching cruise in Nigeria.
Yeah, I saw the video. Perhaps the Akara empowerment is inconsequential because they believe that giving people 50,000 naira for empowerment is good enough, provided that they're empowering those who are in the rural community. And it speaks volume. Go through monitoring, and they help you to establish and flourish.
There are brands doing it too.
Yeah,
I mean,
and guess what? Guess what this thing does in our economy? Because if you're able to establish one business today, and the person grows, in 4 years' time, the person might be able to employ 7 other persons. You are helping to reduce unemployment. You're also helping to reduce poverty in the land. But in the case of empowering somebody who fries akara, yes, you can give him 50,000 naira to begin to fry akara, where he will be able to eke out what people are trying to dismiss, honest work or whatever. Is humble beginning.
absolutely.
That is not the issue at all. The issue is that kind of empowerment. Is it empowerment for hand to mouth or empowerment for regenerative wealth that can help us to alleviate poverty, help us to bring people out of poverty, and help us to cater for the next generation?
Big question.
I know a friend that you mentioned a friend. I know a friend that at a point in time he got into should I call that promotion of a high life music, trying to spot talent and what have you not. And I know about 3 people or 4 people who have come through that very program. And guess what they've been able to do? Because it's not just you are raising an artist. Okay, the artist goes for the competition, wins like 10 million naira, gets a recording deal and what have you not. And for about 3 to 4 of them I know who have become successful, go and see the downline they have created. They've been able to create downlines, people people in their team, and those people in their team, in turn, they're taking care of their families. So that's the kind of empowerment.
Forgery lawyer CSO seeks swift prosecution of ex-minister Naji on page 30. Fake cancel. Ademi fights back as police file 8-count charge against him on page 5. The Radiza FG budgeted 1.3 billion naira for fake cancel. Now, fake here, quote and off quote. My side of the story, coming from Ademi. Tinubu's government held hostage by fraudsters, Atiku declares. Now, the question is, who are the fraudsters? Within the government or from outside the government? Because if something is happening from within, you won't say they are being held hostage. That's a wrong narrative.
The young man was on TV yesterday, I hope you know, and where he said he is ready to go to the court and defend himself. Although he chose to speak a little, because according to him, there's no need going on TV to spill everything, whereas the case is already in court. So I said, let's get there.
Let's get to
and
the
he's
court.
going to perhaps he has the document to buttress his point. So by the time he gets there, let's see what becomes of that very court litigation.
South Africa repatriation flights fully funded by government. The federal government is speaking. Adire not approved or not yet approved to replace NYC Kaki, Youth Minister clarifies. That's on page 9. The kind of clownery that has come out of that particular move at NYSC adjustment.
Did,
I would say it's
did you watch?
legendary.
Did you watch his interview where he made that very idea? Because he
Yes.
was asked a question on what is going to be. He said Ankara, of course, and he mentioned Adire. He said it's going to be a homegrown thing whereby they would like the money to be returned in the economy so that they can support the textile industry. And perhaps when he went home, he saw the deluge of reactions that trailed what he said. And he now issued a press statement saying that what he said on TV was misconstrued. I don't know what is wrong with these very people. They think we don't understand English very well. He was very categorical. He mentioned Ankara and
Mm-hmm.
Adire, and he even mentioned states where those things are made,
I mean,
the Kwara and Co. So I think what he did was just an afterthought, seeing that Nigerians were reacting in a very bad way to what he said. And one of the things I saw yesterday was people are saying if you are going to change the uniform for a scheme that is meant to unite Nigerians, why should we now talk about fabric that is ethnic oriented, that is going to make mess of the whole thing? So why don't you go for something that is well accepted by every tribe, something that every tribe cannot lay claim to? In that very case, you're going to be promoting that national unity, which is the main essence of NYSC.
all right then. As we round off on the front page of the Vanguard, Dangote refinery cuts fuel prices again, signals further moderation. That's on page 20. There's a downward trend. I am hoping that we get back to 800 ASAP. U.S. pulls troops from Nigeria after counter-terrorism operation on page 40.
Okay, so let's look at the headlines we have on Daily Sun newspaper. This one says insecurity, poor governance, frustrating Nigerians. CBCN. That story can be found on page 25, or rather 26 of Daily Sun. And the writer says Brutai calls for sweeping security reforms, says military overstretched by internal operations. Why are we in the habit of finding solutions to problems when we're out of the system? Because the Brutai in question was at a point in time one of the service chiefs, and we didn't see the magic he did to be able to change the tide of insecurity in the country. But now he's out of the system. He's been making calls, making suggestions of what can be done to help tame insecurity in the country. FG secures 1,721 terrorism convictions through mass trial program. It's on the front page too of Daily Sun. Court gives Atiku lifeline. Affirms Mark Areboshola as ADC leaders on page 6. The riders finds Abejide 40 million naira. Party calls it another victory for Nigeria's multi-party democracy. A victory not merely for ADC ex-VP. Then you can see the picture story there of the inauguration, which was done by Vice President Kashin Shettima. I think that's in Abuja. Another headline we have there says insecurity about Benin crosses criminals. The story is on page 4. The writer says Edo demolishes building used by suspected kidnappers. These very causes, do you think they work on these very criminals?
Oh well, I think where they work better is where there is an inside collaboration. I know of people who would certainly right? They kind of do this to themselves or among themselves rather to provide insider collaboration because more often than not, it is difficult to have a place infiltrated if there is no insider collaboration.
Okay. This one says certificate forgery. Lawyer group demands speedy prosecution of ex-minister. The story is on page 28. Talking about Naji. I know it's going to be a long day for him with the ICPC for the fact that he was invited severally and he shown those invitations. Now that DSS picked him up and handed over to ICPC, his case might resemble that of El Rufai, where he might not be easy for him to get a bail application. Dangote refinery cuts fuel prices again, signals further moderation. The writer says reduces PMS by 200 naira per liter. That story is on page 17. So if you check now, I think a liter is now, the gantry price per liter is now 1,075 naira. And like you said, we're expecting that if we begin to see that very competition between Dangote refinery and those who have been given the licenses to import petrol and diesel, in the coming days, we might see the price of a liter of petrol at the retail end of it coming down to maybe 900, 800 as it was before. But like I said, if that is going to happen, it might not be in this month of July. Uh, maybe by middle July we might have some kind of moderation, but to get to that 800, it might take a longer time. By the time the U.S. and the Iran deal has been cemented and things get back to normal.
Okay, let's go over to the next paper on our desk, and that would be Guardian. And the banner headline here is PFIPC scandal puts burden integrity, governance under scrutiny on page 2. 250th or 250th Independence Day, U.S. to deepen security investment ties with Nigeria. Police arrest 3 over assassination attempt in Oshun on page 5. NAS candidates list. Presidency fumes over Ondo APC protests, others probe on page 5. LASJ identifies 3,390 new HIV positive cases in Q1 of 2026. That's on page 5. Tony, sorry, I'm yet to introduce Tony.
By next week, we'll be able to have somebody join us to talk about that.
Absolutely.
Because at a point in time, it appeared it appeared like the information or sensitization on HIV/AIDS, was taking the back door at some point in time. Because that was a time that it was talk of the town everywhere on daily basis. You get to hear the sensitization, but at a point in time, it seemed like taking the backstage. In as much as we know that there has been some progress made when it comes to management of HIV, the first 5 states, Anambra comes there.
Anambra is in the first 5.
So that tells you that the infection rate is there, and there's need for more sensitization to tell people what they do, to tell people what they can do to avoid contracting HIV/AIDS. And in case you have HIV, what you can do to still live your full life once you are on the right track.
Any FGAD, IMPI survey rate, FG low on transparency, high on FX reforms. Page 4, xenophobia, 700 more Nigerians to return from South Africa. On page 3, security agencies invite 6 alleged terror financiers for questioning. On page 3, Dangote cuts fuel prices again, signals further moderation on page 3.
Okay, so from the Punch newspaper, the story beside the nameplate says U.S. pulls troops from Nigeria after ISIS deputies killing. It's on page 7, and the story talking about the ground troops have been withdrawn, but it doesn't mean that it's the end of the Operation Farms. On page 2, Dangote importers battle as petrol holds above 1,000 naira. Sorry, that's the story. Then you can see the picture story on the front page. And with that, we come to an end with the headlines we have on the front page this morning.
And of course, the conversation is set to start in earnest. Just to let you know that we are live on Facebook. Udala Radio 104.7 FM is our handle. And you can drop your comment right under the post of this show. Now we are starting, of course. Dr. Tony Lisambeki is here already. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Tristan. Good morning, Franklin. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, everyone under the reach of a voice. It's good.
Are you there, Tony?
Very well. I'm here with you.
Okay. And so we're starting the conversation this morning with this report from the Vanguard newspaper talking about the soaring cost of childbirth in the country. According to reports, we understand that families are increasingly becoming pressed. They are struggling because the cost of childbirth is on the high side. According to reports, increasing hospital charges, the inflation, the high cost of imported medical supplies, and the weak naira are pushing many women towards unsafe delivery options. Now, we have incidents of families who, instead of going to hospitals, opt for these quack maternity homes. I shared the story earlier of a woman we met at the hospital in March this year during our hospital visitations towards our anniversary, and she had opted for the cheaper alternative.
That's the way to fight these dangerous precedents. And it has caused enormous damages than good. You talked about somebody who was put in incubator. From being put in incubator, look at the charge involved. You are trying to avert or trying to run away from delivery cost, and you get yourself into problems. We have lost countless number of babies. Good. Because it is rife. We cannot pretend that things are going well when they are not. This is the basic. We are talking about prenatal, antenatal, and some things like this. Government to find a way. The Ministry of Health, especially Anambra State, and even the Ministry of Health across the country, they should do something. Strong policies of government that will help in a way to avert this danger. It is not looming. It is here with us. It's not looming. It's here with us. You don't know what pregnant women pass through. Many of them, after the childbirth, even there are those after the childbirth, maybe the breast milk will not start coming immediately.
Yes, what are the things covered and things not covered? Because we need to bring in more diseases that should be covered. Like the one I'm on now. If I'm going to go for medical surgery, when I mean major medical surgery, is covered.
Can you give us an insight as to what it's costing you to be on this insurance scheme? Because a lot of times it also comes from ignorance in terms of people expecting that insurance is expensive. I know for the Anambra State Insurance Agency, there are health insurance schemes that you pay about 12,000 naira at the beginning of the year or something of that nature. And after, probably, like you pointed, I'll probably have somebody from there join the program one of these days to talk extensively about it. But Tony,
I want to react to some of the things Franklin said, because sometimes it's good to have a good initiative, but another thing is to look at the challenges that initiative may be facing, and you find out that there could be reasons why people are not embracing it. In the case of health insurance, you talked about the issue of a number of healths that should be covered. Of course, there are so many critical health concerns that are not covered. And these are ones that will take huge amount of money, especially issue of, I don't know if cancer is covered, I don't know. But then there are minor surgeries that are covered, but major surgeries sometimes are not covered. So you find out that, just like Franklin said, the need for us to add more to the insurance scheme, make it visible, let the people take ownership, let them know it is their business, bring about campaign sensitization, let them know they can even register outside some of these places for those.
Monitor. We have mystery shoppers in the banking industry. Maybe ghost patients would need to be put out there to probably check how some of these things are carried out.
Okay, so, just to add more to what I said and then what Tony said, because I was talking from the 2 points, to approach this issue from two ways. One is one is the issue of health insurance. Like I mentioned that some states have their own. In Anambra, it's Ashia. Then the one about at the federal level is National Health Insurance Authority. It's also there. If you look at what this one is covers, it covers the issue of outpatient and inpatient care. Brazil, whether you are on tourist visa, whether you are not on tourist visa, once a child has been put to bed in that very country, it's free of charge. Then I mentioned some other African countries. Take for instance, if you go to Ghana, you can only have that free child delivery if you are under health insurance. If you are not, you cannot have it. If you go to likes of Namibia, Namibia has a free delivery for all public hospitals in that very country. So in our own case is to see what we can do, because this time around, the cost of child delivery is no longer child's play. From about 34,000 naira to 6,000 naira. Now the least you can get anyway is about 130,000 naira. Then if you want to go to bigger hospitals, you're looking at 500,000. I mean, this is for normal delivery, not cesarean section. So that's why we're asking that at this point in time, looking at the kind of issue
standard enough that the person who can afford the private hospital can trust the services there, and the person who is of the low status in the society can also trust the services there. Also, sensitization. These two things, and we round off.
All right. I think we have 3 tiers of health facilities or hospitals. You have the primary one, you have the secondary one, and you have the tertiary one. And when we talk about the primary one, we are talking about primary health centers. But then I wouldn't know if the facilities in those places as mentioned, especially in Anambra State, are up to what they should be. But I know that Anambra State government won award in primary health care services, because there was an independent body that came and they did an investigation across the 36 states and FCT and gave Anambra State award on that. But then also, you also have the secondary tier, or the second tier, the secondary. That is the general hospitals. I'm aware that we have a good number of them, but I would say that we need more in a number state. A place like Awada should have a general hospital. We have one in Fege now, from what I was told. We have in Boko. From what I was told, in a place like Territory, it should also have a general hospital. These are places that have population, and we should do certain delineations and capture more places. We must have at least not less than 13 general hospitals in another state. And it's doable. That's the secondary tier of health. Then you talk about the tertiary, the teaching hospitals. But we know for you to have that one, there must be a university attached to that. It's important that we take cognizance of some of these things. The problem that kills a lot of things, policies of government, initiatives, is evaluation, auditing, monitoring. And for you to measure whether these equipment are up to standard, I've told you the racketeering in most of these places. They buy those things. Some workers resell those things back. Tomorrow you will not see them again. It's just the situation. You won't see it again. That place will be dried up. How would government find out if it does not conduct routine evaluation, auditing, and monitoring? They cannot find out. Some of these health workers, they do businesses. Many of them, some of them are hungry. They are greedy. They do all manner of untoward things to make ends meet. How would government find out? The government should up their game. They should have a routine monitoring, evaluation, auditing. Not the one, and it should be intermittent. It should be random. And people should be also told, people should also be involved in this. There should be a line where anybody who is dissatisfied with a service provided at the hospital should contact the State Ministry of Health.
Right.
It should be pasted in every hospital, and it will be boldly written so that the healthcare providers will know what is going on.
Okay.
With time, they can also mount cameras. I don't know when we have cameras in our public hospitals. There should be cameras monitored. These are things we should do if we are serious.
All right, Tony. When you talked about monitoring, I was also going to ask about when the reports are made, are they acted on? But let's leave it at that. So we understand that the federal government has clarified that the ongoing evacuation of Nigerians from South Africa is being fully funded by the government. This is following allegations that stranded citizens were asked to pay for evacuation. Now, according to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, hundreds of Nigerians have already been evacuated with additional flights scheduled. The government also says it plans to seek compensation for Nigerians who lost businesses and property during the anti-immigrant unrest. And so, this is one part of the conversation that we haven't actually looked into. And Frank woke up this morning disturbed. It's one thing to bring them home. How are they going to settle in? Look at the poverty rate. Some of them left back businesses, investments. I saw a video of a social media content creator. Was it yesterday? Talking about how Nigerians should come back from South Africa and come and invest here. How they're not in tune with the realities here. They just come here, build hotels, houses. They just leave and all of that. And I'm pretty sure that Nigerians in different parts of the world, Nigerians are very creative people. While we have the people who have given us the bad name with the scams, the love shams and all of that, Nigerians are super hardworking people. Some of them have salons, some of them have eateries, some of them have delivery businesses.
We levy sanctions, we do all manner of things, and then at the same time, we impose so many diplomatic sanctions against you as a country. Within any of those, we are not United States of America because we are not superpower. And we are not a developed country. We are a struggling country. We know that. So we come to compare ourselves with the United States of America. But we must take certain diplomatic positions. I have thought by now, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, through the Nigerian High Commission or Embassy in South Africa, they must have documented all the businesses Nigerians are forfeiting. That have jurisdiction to over this issue. We don't need to take this matter to international criminal court because for me, it's not the kind of matter you take to such courts. But there are areas, if you can sue South Africa in UK, those things why they take strong approach on South Africa.
Mm.
Okay.
Days of brotherness or brotherhood is over.
Okay.
We must be very strong on this issue.
Let me add anyway. If for the sake of clarity, MultiChoice was originally owned by South Africa, but after it was sold to Canal Plus, so it's now owned by
Nigeria,
a French media.
a French media. Okay.
Yeah, it's a French media group now. So I think
So this call shouldn't involve them.
MultiChoice is out of it. So we focus on MTN now, because where I'm looking at is these people.
Sorry, not just
people,
MTN, even banks. South Africa owns banks.
Yeah.
Standard IBTC Bank.
So where I'm going to now is how we are going to help these people to resettle, because if you listen to many of them, they will tell you how they run away. I listened to one man meant for those who are of Imo State origin. Now he said that those returnees who are from Imo State, by the time they come back to Nigeria, each person is going to get 1 million naira to help the person to resettle. Then look at Lagos State, that is also making some plans, saying that these returnees are going to receive a direct cash stipend, and then individuals who are eligible, they are going to be transferred to the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund for them to acquire skill and the training. I mentioned what MTN is doing. Then there is one very private person, Pastor Bolaji Do, who has pledged 100,000 for each of returnees, and he said,
What claims do they have to these businesses, and then compensation? That's the question.
Remember when I was making the analysis before now, I did say that before they left South Africa without the embassy ensuring that they put out some of these things, it took them time for them to be repatriated. It took them weeks. What was going on during this period? I had thought that some of these things would be going on. In fact, when Nigerian government was queried on this delay, they said that documentations were going on. What was the documentation going on then? So I'm saddened to hear that such documentations never took place. Ordinarily, they ought to have taken place at that country, but it doesn't mean that if they are done here, that it changes anything. But it should be timely. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay.
By now, Nigeria should be making statements that our people lost so amounts, lost so valuables, lost so things. There should be a statement on this.
Right.
And I'm saying that South Africa should be sued by Nigerian government at any of the US or UK courts that have jurisdiction over South Africa. Target their assets. They have assets in some of these countries. We must take strong diplomatic position. That is what Trump is like. We must be Trump-like now. We must be Trump-like. You can't do this to a United States of American citizen and get away with it. It's not possible.
Okay, let's look at the role of bodies like ECOWAS and AU, the South African Union, in issues like this. I don't know.
Us as a people, it would be a slap on us.
what happened? They were having issues repatriating the money and what have you not. And I said it was given to Nigerian subsidiary to manage, and the 25 outlets they had, Mankeno, Anambra, Mankeno, Lagos, even the one non-Abuja, the big cities where they thrive, they couldn't manage it. Now you mentioned Chelsea. Chelsea, when it was being managed by Roman Abramovich, we know what Chelsea was like. And this very guy, Todd Bodley and Co, bought it over. And from the era of Abramovich to now Todd Bodley, you know the difference. Chelsea is now like the shadow of itself, because the man who understood the business is no longer there to handle
And
it.
we also know the conditions that led to the different handovers and all of that. But Tony, let's quickly look at life before apartheid. What you would say to Nigerians before xenophobia, rather. What you'd say to Nigerians who go to different parts of the world and become like a lost generation. When things like xenophobia happen, they come home and they are left hanging like bats without anywhere to actually rest in the daytime or at night. What would you say to that?
For me, I think our government has failed big time. What would I tell to those who are in such conditions? Best thing is for them to just get themselves fixed up somewhere. Get yourself fixed up somewhere. There are skills that any of them can put up. To learn skills these days are expensive. one was telling me to lend this, to lend that. They are calling 1.5 million, 1 million, 700,000, 250,000. But for me, many of them can lend trade. Because if most of the businesses that are running in South Africa, they may not be viable here because our people, how they do their things. But the point remains that we need to support them in a way. We can do this as a people. We, as a people, when the government fails to do what it's supposed to do, there are things we should do to support our brothers.
Is there something?
We should do that.
Is there something we are missing in terms of the Akuluelno philosophy? The fact that most of them go over there and they forget home. And when things like this happen, they are left hanging. That
is the point. When we say, bring your wealth home, if they had, maybe some of these people that were in South Africa had expected that they would have had landed properties. They would have, because these are things you can always rely on. This is something you can hang on to restart life. It is important that our brothers outside countries, that's why they should get involved with some trusted real estate companies, because you understand now, if you give your brother money to build anything, to buy a property for you, it's becoming something tragic in the sense that they do tell stories about that. We've heard so many stories. That is why they must, maybe in one way or the other, look for any trusted real estate companies that is authentic and start investing. There's nothing like investment. The idea of investment is to have something you rely on when the unfortunate happens. Nobody knows tomorrow. This is something we must inculcate, even not just for those our brothers who are outside the country, those who are doing businesses here in this country.
All right.
Buy a property so that you can always look up to that property whenever the unfortunate happens.
We need to quickly round off, but let's look at quickly now the Federal High Court's dismissal of a suit that challenges the leadership of ADC and also upholding the emergence of David Mark and Rauf Aregbesola, and what this means for the likes of Atiku and the party. Now, let's also not forget that. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's not forget that the suit that was dismissed yesterday by Justice Liman Musa was the one instituted by Abejide, not the one instituted by Nafiu Balagombe. But they run parallel anyway, because Abejide was challenging the emergence of David Mark and Aregbesola. And the court looked at their case and said, how did this affect you as a person? You are not contending that your position was taken. You are not contending that you've been affected by this transition. How did the transition affect you? That with that you have no locus. That is one. Yes, secondly, the court also said that the matter before it is not justiciable. It's an internal offense of the party. So, and the court also affirmed Aregbesola and David Mark as authentic leaders of the party. And even before now, we know very well that the Supreme Court had removed the issue of status quo that made INEC to de-recognize them. What it means is a consolidation on the part of ADC. And the Federal High Court had given their leadership validity on this. Even whenever the one instituted by Nafiu Balagombe comes out, it might really be in sync with the Federal High Court's ruling headed by Justice Liman. It is important to note, this is what the law says. Based on the principle of decider status, you cannot, it's a known principle by now that issues affecting political matters, especially internal issues, should not be in any way adjudicated by any court. It should not be entertained by any court. So the Federal High Court under Justice Liman did the needful. It's a commendable one. Right, very commendable.
We'll take a break.
So Tony, so do you think that in any way that what happened in the case of Abejide might in any way have some degree of influence on the case which was filed by Nafiu Bala? Because if you look at the prayers of the two of them, they seem to be similar with just slight difference.
I think the only difference between the two is one. In the case of Abejide Leke, the court said he has no locus because the whole thing will not affect him. So that is the difference between his own suit and that of Nafiu Balagombe. When this
Wendy's bread, tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, Second Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread. You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
And absolutely, it's your time to get involved. Put a call across to 0803-221-697-30803. 827-6694. And just to let you know, you can drop your comment on Facebook. Pay 10%.
Thank you. It's not totally free. But you must associate with Asia.
But that is so very fair. The problem now is that people do not consider this important, and people do not like to get on board. They wait for emergencies before. You can't just register for Asia today, and because you've not done your enrollment.
You may not understand.
Okay. Let me come in. Mario.
There are so many things. Anything concerning government,
Mario.
there is some seriousness on top.
Is it unseriousness from the government, or because you already have a mindset that there is unseriousness?
I am telling you that I have somebody who has participated on that.
And I am telling you that I am a beneficiary.
The one we have in Pege here, you understand? The only thing I must confess to you that talking about the accidental, it is 100%. You get good drugs, you understand? Then as much as there's some nurses there are behaving there. But at the time of delivery, my sister, if you have issues, that time you know that you are supposed to have money on anything that you're doing.
Okay, now this.
Let me come in here so that
please.
I make this clarification. That's why I keep on saying that people should. There are different options. I'm going to talk from working close with former ES of Asia, and at the same time, from my own experience. In Nigeria, we have different. We have this very thing. We have the HMOs, we have the National Health Insurance Agency, then the Asia for Anambra State, and each of them does not cover the same thing. I've mentioned that the HMO I'm on now. I looked at the ailments, the areas of health that they covered. I was asking myself, so what else am I going to suffer from that they will not cover? This one is 100%, but the premium is on the higher side compared to what Asia collects as premium. I don't know whether I'm making sense to Mario. The premium I will pay for the HMO is quite different from the premium that Asia collects. Asia pays like 12,000 in a year.
Mm-hmm.
Then the premium on HMO is on the higher side. And in that very case, even if I'm going to have what am I going to use, like a severe health condition?
Say a surgery.
Totally cover 100%. The very first time I had a surgery under health insurance scheme, I think I've said it before. Up to today, I don't know the bill. If I paid 2 naira on it, I do not know, because everything was sorted there 100% based on the package I was on. So you don't get on a package that pays smaller premium and you expect to have it 100% covered.
I totally understand.
There are ones that are 100% covered. There are ones not 100%.
I'll speak about Asia
now,
quickly.
if you're talking about, if you're saying that there is need for government to take over everything entirely and cover, I understand. But we should know that the way health insurance scheme runs is this: if we have even the rich people enrolling on it, then we can get money from them and cover for others. But when you don't have good number of persons enrolling on that very scheme, government will now try to see how do we cater for maybe 90%. And then leave 10% for the people to cater.
Knowing about Asia.
But head or tail, the benefit you get from health insurance cannot be quantified.
Absolutely. Knowing about Asia, I'd say 10% is more than fair.
Morning.
Good morning.
Johnny, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Good morning.
You sound good this morning. Franklin, are you okay?
Good morning.
How about Ogidigada?
He's very well, thank you.
Ogidigada one. Well, I don't even know which topic to do. The youth service thing. Yeah? I think the youth service has lost its value. And the reforms they brought up about Abanda and the other clause, it's unheard of. Why do we keep somersaulting every government and individuals who help them to pick up in life? So please, you guys who are out there, who are speaking to us, always give a good orientation to our people who are in one way or the other outside. For them to know, I don't know what is our problem. Wherever we go, we take that place as our own home without knowing that one day we will back home and face the reality of life. Thank you. God bless you guys.
Thank you. 0803-221-6973, 0803-827-6694. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, Emeka speaking from Onitsha. I just want to use this medium to thank the last caller. So thank you so much for advising us. What we need is total reorientation. So that if you are being sacked from the country where you are, you don't have problem coming down home. But the major problem is this. Those that are at home, you might be sending money to them. They'll be using it for something else. Come down, open and can be sending money into that your private account in Nigeria. Let me stop here. Thank you so much.
All right then. 0803-221-6973. Hello there.
Good morning. Good morning, my speaker, Tony Baker. And Chisom. And this voice on the beginning is from our ancient kingdom. But I'm coming from new now. You see, this information that I try to bring in, or I don't know, in the youth service. The glory of youth services, they are trying to kill it. Because our children putting on that khaki and that uniform makes them happy. I can remember when my sons went to youth service at Yobe, I think Yobe State or Far North. When he come back, he put on that uniform, going around the here, glorify himself, like my daughter and others. You see, let them not change it. Even the service are giving them this training. It's not by force. If you are not, you are sick, you are not. They will not train you with the hard way the military used to train. If you are pregnant, they will not allow you safe. So let us not change it and make it more not attraction again to our people. This is what I want to add here. Thank you.
All right then. Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning, my good people studio. My name is Elijah. I'm calling from Udala Palace. Embassy represent any problem you go and report. OAU, Organization of African Unity, all the president, we are going to any president want to declare people to leave their country compensation. Who communication of the country? Immediately, Central Bank supposed to. The government of Nigeria, I have OAU, Organization of African Unity, who is communication. I don't know my people. I'm tired like why people have lost it. They like people are not coming from anywhere. They get country. President, if you want to go to France, you communicate with the president immediately. You call another president. If he has him, show him to the court. Call the OAU is at him. Why? These people are left in without any settlement. You know what they're doing. God will save the people from South Africa. And our problem of Nigeria is not changing the NIC clothes. Not to the problem. Solve the problem of the masses of Nigeria. Come and join me to change NIC another clothes. It's not a problem to solve in Nigeria.
All right. Changing NYSC outfit is not one of our problems. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, Frank, good morning to you.
Yes, good morning.
This is Henry from Onitsha GRA. Yes.
Talk to us, Henry.
Yes. Let me speak on the issue of Asia, because I make a study. Let me say this. Leadership, administration, is not just all about policy formulation. Okay? Say it exactly, commonly. You tell people, I am going to do this. You will have this as benefit. When at the end of the day, it becomes an illusion. I'm sorry to say that, but I have to. I had already said, I'm a case for this. This area of a king, I went in there sometime. After having it, there was no remission whatsoever, even in the marginal stage. Okay? Then, cleverly, I had to take the empty pack of the drug given to me to a pharmacist, a family friend. And when I got there, the pharmacist was tightened the empty pack. He shouted, "You see this thing you're holding? We, the pharmacists, we have tested it. They wrote 500 mg. I think it's Amazon or so. They wrote a 500 mg. We have tested it, and it's not up to 50 mg. There and then I believed him because I had had no remission whatsoever. I called my other sister, who is a professor of medicine. This is my mother. And I narrated the whole thing to her. She just said, what you people do there in Onitsha, we in Enugu here at the UNTH, we don't regard you. And she has always, make this statement. So what I'm saying here is like this. You don't say at all can tell you about Asia. You come in there, get into the pharmacy department, and know what that is happening there. You can actually see the answer. The shame is as weak, just as it is a think. If you establish Asia, and people cannot go in there to receive that treatment to solve their health issues, it is not existing. I'm sorry to say this, but I have to. Thank you.
Okay.
So hold on a second, Henry.
Before you go,
sorry, yes,
did you lodge this very complaint?
To where?
Did you lodge this complaint?
To where?
To Asia.
Asia.
Yes.
I did not.
Okay.
And this is an
So
offer.
can you take it along to them? Can you take it up from here?
I will find I'll find a way to get them on board so that they can talk about it.
Yes, that reminds me. Excuse me. On 2 occasions, I've said it on air. I think there was one day a health officer. I don't know if it was the commission at that time that came on air, and he was speaking. I was unlucky to come in, and I called in and narrated my audio. So maybe you start from there. Okay? It's not all about telling me this or telling me that. Asia hospital, whatever. The pharmacy. How do they solve their drugs? That's the issue.
So you are concerned about give me a second, Henry. You are concerned about the quality of drugs, right? Quality of drugs. Abi, am I missing something here, Frank? What he complained about explicitly was the quality of drugs he got at the pharmacy. And we are saying this is a broad spectrum conversation. While this is a very valid concern, we should not write off health insurance because of this. That is all I was going to say before you started with the. I think we can't even take any more calls. Let's head over to Facebook, please.
Yes, we have to see the Facebook page here. While we get to that, let me say this because I asked him whether he complained, and he said the way I'm asking is the past years. I know I was a bit on some occasions I was able to get close and know things that happened there. They have a helpline through which you can get back to them on the quality of service you receive.
Absolutely.
From those hospitals that partner with them, because those hospitals are partnering with them. The hospitals are not part of Asia. It's just hospitals that partner with them where you can go and they receive those health services. And what we have discovered is that in some cases, some of them get involved in all these sharp practices because they believe that the money coming from this very Asia does not come the way like if an individual walks in to access healthcare. I once began an investigative story trying to fathom the kind of services that people receive somewhere in Enugu. I tried that, but at the end of the day, I know I didn't complete it because of one challenge or the other. You're talking to people, at the end of the day, want to get hospitals' reaction, and they're shying away.
They're not willing to cooperate.
So what I'm saying is, when you have these kind of situations, it's advisable that you escalate, because now, instead they had an FACC, you have to escalate it so that they get to know this is my challenge, Susan. So when they get to
Certainly.
know, they will now know how to get back to them and see how the services can be improved. Now let's look at the reactions we have here. From our Facebook page, we have Anoms Emmy, and he says the health insurance scheme, is it for everyone or just for a number of people alone? And how can we access it? If you're in Anambra State, if you live in Anambra State, you can access it. It's just for you to go. Once you go, talk with them. They will tell you how to register. You register, then every year you pay a premium. I'm also aware that Delta State also has its own health insurance scheme in Delta State. You can also access it. Then for the National Health Insurance Agency, it's in every state of the federation. You can check it out. Then for the HMOs, there are also many of them are also I have seen many here in Onitsha for the HMOs. Then the Smart says, okay, he thanks us.
And there are also private HMOs of that.
That's what I'm saying. So Smart, thank you for the commendation for the what we did today on the program. Mazimo Richipado says, since many state governments are not making genuine plannings to compensate the South African returnees, I think their hometowns and kindred should be the next line up to render assistance to them. And this health scheme insurance lacks seriousness and is a deceit to humanity, because many a times the terms and conditions that are embedded in it is too much to be involved. He posted from WhatsApp Onitsha. And then this one says health and other forms of insurance are very important, but our people are unfortunately skeptical about it. I was on health insurance before I left Nigeria, and it saved me a lot of money and stress. Obi Steven from Germany. And this one is from, I'm trying to access all your posts. I'm trying to access all of your posts so that we'll be able to do justice to all of them, in as much as we're having a bit of a network challenge trying to do this. So please, if we fail to acknowledge your post this very morning, please, apologies, because to load these very things, it's been difficult to load all the reactions that we have posted there. But
okay,
I believe. Then the Smart says, okay.
Okay. He says, I thank you people for enlightening me more on today's program. And he also went on to say, I want to use this opportunity to thank each and everyone working. Okay, thank you very much. John Batch says, there is no general hospital in Nzam. In fact, there is no general hospital in the entire Anambra West local government area. How do those people access quality healthcare? How do they register for ASHA? Even if they wholly have to pay out of pocket, is there any single government hospital? That's another big question. In hard-to-reach areas, in rural communities, we really need to do a lot of work in terms of healthcare access in those areas. Nzekwe Celestine says, NYSC should be scrapped. But in the case of reform, I think we should put sectionalism aside if the so-called reform will work. And I equally suggest that this military constitution should be amended to stop the president from sole appointment of any head of service like NYSC. Good morning. Ifeanyi Georgie Federer says, as for me, if South Africa will recall what happened to Ghana after Nigeria was shouting Ghana must go, they should read history and understood that they were clamoring for. Because many countries they are sending back home, they are indirectly preparing them for something bigger that will improve and change their countries. And Henry Elu says, the problem of our health public sector is adequate. You mean to say inadequate monitoring? It's one thing to set up a facility, and it's another thing to ensure they have full standard compliance. I was at a general hospital in Obuko. A lady rushed in with a breastfeeding baby that is under convulsion at about 4 p.m. We were shocked, you mean to say, to find out that the person in charge of the drugs had locked the room and went away. A child brought to the hospital for medication was being administered onions and balm, but outside by the same nurses for the convulsion. Now, this is sad, and in terms of regulation, monitoring, that particular general hospital in Obuko should actually be put under the whole scrutiny and all there is. Franklin, we are rounding off. I was going to comment about something, but please, before we go, your final shots.
Yes, I'm going to anchor on what one of the callers said, and the person that called from Show Light, he talked about wherever you go, try to remember something. And I'm anchoring on what a South African musician said. You know Masakeji, right? You know him. Masakeji, he did a song called Skeleton Move that he featured Zanda Zakuza. What did he say in that very song? He said, no matter where you go, remember
the road that will lead you home.
So in every situation, wherever you are, know that one day you must surely find your ancestral home, and there's need for you to do some repatriations while you work.
Okay, so I'm going to round off today. It's so many